Do you ever feel like you're constantly running late, missing appointments, or just always feeling overwhelmed by your completely jam packed schedule? For those of us with ADHD, mismanaging our time is not just a bad habit, it's caused by a symptom colloquially called time blindness. And if you've ever felt like your life is just spinning out of control because of it, you are definitely not alone. Now, before we dive into the specifics of time blindness, here's the good news. Once you understand why it happens, you can take control of it. Time blindness doesn't have to ruin your life. You can learn to manage your time, your schedule, and ultimately your stress. Today, I'm going to show you how. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we turn ADHD into your entrepreneurial advantage. I'm Mina Raver, and today we're tackling a topic that so many people with ADHD struggle with: tardiness. Let's start by talking about time blindness and how it relates to tardiness. Time blindness is the characteristic of having a weak sensation of the passage of time. It's like your internal clock is always off. This makes it really difficult to judge how long things will take, which can lead to underestimating time, overbooking your schedule, failure to start tasks early enough, and ultimately being late. It's frustrating and it can really mess with your day to day life. So, why does time blindness lead to tardiness? Well, that may be obvious, but let's break it down anyway. When you don't have a strong sensation of how long things take, you end up expecting tasks to take less time usually than they actually do. You might think you can squeeze in one more thing before you leave the house, or you might assume that a meeting will only take 30 minutes when it's more likely to take an hour. This leads to overbooking your schedule, missing or forgotten appointments, and constantly feeling stressed out as everything starts to pile up. When your schedule is constantly overloaded and you're constantly running late, it's easy to feel like your life is spinning out of control. It's easy to be judgmental of yourself in these times, or for others to be judgmental of you. But this isn't about a lack of discipline or motivation. It's about how your brain perceives and processes time. And once you understand that, you can start to make changes that will help you take back control. Here are a few simple steps, starting with number one. The first step to overcoming tardiness and managing your time better is to build a more realistic sense of how long things actually take. This is something that you can practice and improve over time. Here's how you do it. Before you start any task, take a guess at how long you think it will take. Then set a timer and track the actual time it takes to complete the task. Afterward, compare your guess to your actual completion time. Were you close? Were you way up? Keeping a log of these time estimates can be incredibly helpful, especially over time, because over time, you'll start to see patterns and build a mental library of how long things take, especially the difference between how long you think it will take and how long it really takes. This helps you plan your schedule better, be more accurate, and prevents you from overbooking yourself. Step number two is all about prioritizing and simplifying your schedule. One of the biggest challenges with time blindness is that we often think we can fit more into our day than we realistically can. This leads to crammed schedules and a lot of unnecessary stress. The solution? Start by prioritizing what really matters and cutting out non essential tasks. Take a look at your schedule and ask yourself, what are the tasks or commitments that are absolutely necessary? What can be delegated or postponed? And what can be removed altogether? Be ruthless. It's about quality over quantity. Focusing on the tasks that will have the biggest impact on your day and your goals will improve your outcomes. When you simplify your schedule, you give yourself more breathing room, which reduces the likelihood of running late all the time and missing important appointments. This can be a tough one because it's hard to learn to say no to things as they come up. Just remember, though, that you might be remembered for what you didn't do, but you'll definitely be remembered for the quality of what you did do. Prioritize quality. The third step is to use external cues and alarms to help you stay on track. When you struggle with time blindness, relying on your internal sense of what time it is isn't enough. You need external reminders to keep you grounded. This could mean setting alarms to remind you when it's time to start getting ready for an appointment and also when it's time to leave, or using visual timers to help you manage time during the day and especially when you're in focus. Here's another tip. Don't just set one alarm for when you need to leave. Set a series of alarms that gives you a countdown. For example, one alarm for 30 minutes before and another alarm for 15 minutes before, and then a final one for when it's time to go. The series helps keep your commitment top of mind, especially when it's hard to break focus on what you were previously working for, and it keeps you aware of the time as it's passing. Also, consider using a calendar app that sends you reminders in advance of your appointments, so you're less likely to forget them altogether. Another crucial step is to practice buffering time between tasks. One of the biggest mistakes people with time blindness make is scheduling tasks back to back without any buffer time. I still do this. This leaves no room for unexpected delays or the time it takes to transition from one task to another, which often results in being late. I have a major problem with filling my calendar with meetings with wonderful people that I never want to leave and going 10 minutes over and doing that. And by the end of the day, I've lost one or two meetings. To avoid this, start building in buffer time between your tasks or commitments. If you think a meeting will last an hour, schedule 90 minutes instead. If you need to drive somewhere, add an extra 10 to 15 minutes on the front end for unexpected traffic or anything else that might come up. This buffer time gives you a cushion. So if something takes longer than expected, you're still on schedule. And note, it will take longer than expected. The final step is to reflect and adjust regularly. Time management is not a one and done deal. It's something you need to check in on regularly. At the end of each week, take a look at how things went. Were you late to any appointments? Did any tasks take longer than expected? Use this reflection to adjust time estimates and scheduling strategies for the following week. This practice of regular reflection helps you stay aware of where your time management strategies are working and where they still need tweaking. It also helps you build that internal clock over time, so you're less reliant on external tools later on and more in tune with how long things actually take. Now let's bring it all together. Tardiness, missed appointments, and overbooked schedules can make life feel chaotic, but they don't have to define your day-to-day life. By understanding the role of time blindness in these challenges and using strategies like practicing time estimates, simplifying your schedule, using external cues, and building in buffer time, you can start taking control of your time and your life. Remember, this is not about being perfect. It's about making progress little by little and finding what works for you. It is a practice in self-mastery. With the right tools and practices, you can overcome the challenges of time blindness, show up on time every time, and create a life that feels more in control and less stressed out. Remember that I'm rooting for you. And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and pass it on to someone else you know who needs it. You can also click the little bell to get notifications when I post new content, which is weekly, and when I take on questions or provide coaching live. And if you're ready to dive even deeper into how to leverage ADHD for entrepreneurial success, check out the resources I've linked in the description below. I'm Mina. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us on Productive with ADHD. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss another episode. And please click that thumbs up button below. We'd really appreciate it. And if you're ready to take your productivity to the next level with tools designed just for you, a high-achieving professional with ADHD, then download the Better CEO app available on both Apple and Android. You'll find those links at betterceo.app and in the show notes. See you next time with more insights and strategies to help you make ADHD your unfair advantage.